Welcome to a very special edition of Deep Look, a little bonus show here on Thursday, September 26th. It is time for the Club Nationals pool draw. There's no seeding anymore, folks. Live draw coming up in just a moment. I'm Charlie Eisenhood, joined by Keith Rayner. Keith, I don't want to wait too long. We're starting on time this year, unlike last year. Let's take a quick look at some notes about how this is going to work, and then we will welcome in Adam Goff.
Yeah, this is the part where you and I hand pick the pools to make for the most entertaining product, right? That's what we're doing here.
100%. Yeah, we've rigged it. We've selected the the bingo balls exactly the right weight so that they will come out as we choose. But no, let's take a look. The top ranked teams in the USAU post regionals rankings get seeded 1 to 4. We're going to take a look at the pots in just a moment. The other teams are put into pots of 4 sequentially down as they are ranked below those top teams. The rule is that no more than 2 teams from one region can be together in a pool. So we'll talk about some of the specifics ways that can work out when we get to the draw. This year, a couple of changes. The pool draw will be from the bottom up. So we're going to start with pot 4, the bottom ranked teams, put those into pools, and then the third pot, and then the second pot. Also, the pool order will be randomized as well as the teams themselves. So we're not going to go A, B, C, D. Those will also be randomized with a draw out of a hat. All right. Makes sense, Keith?
All tracks for me.
All right. Well, let's welcome in Adam Goff. He is the National Men's Director for USA Ultimate. Adam, great to have you back with the bingo balls. We're excited to have you here again.
Been looking forward to it all year. I'm excited about the process improvement of drawing the pools from this fancy hat that I have worn to coach at Nationals for multiple years.
Very good. The bucket hat will decide the pools. All right, so let's just go ahead and take a look at the women's pots. That's where we're going to start. So the pot 1, you can see there, those teams are seeded into pools A, B, C, D in order. So Fury will be the number 1 seed, Scandal the 2, Brute the 3, and Phoenix the 4 in pool D. And then we will be drawing, beginning with pot 4, which is Parcha, Grit, Nemesis, and Pop. So I don't think we need to say anything else. Let's make some picks happen. We hope you're enjoying us. We are live. We're taking a look at the YouTube chat as well. We're keeping an eye on things. So if you have questions about anything, just hit us up there. All right. So let us begin. We're going to do the pool first and then the bingo ball. So take it away. B.
We'll go to pool B with the first team. And I will drop the first ball to get it out of the way this year.
The fix is already in. All right. 13. So 13. That's going to go into the bottom of pool B. And so that is Parcha out of Pittsburgh. They'll be playing against Scandal in their home region. So I believe that there's no potential conflict here because Grit is also in this same group. So we're not going to have any worries about those teams being all together in the same pool.
Yeah, Next up. I can say there's only one worry in women's, and until we pull into pot 3, we won't know about it. So all the pot 4 teams can just go where they go.
Got it.
Go to pool D. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure if I'm reversed or not. So pool
D
you
got it. You flipped it over appropriately.
Pool D, 14.
14. So Grit will go into pool D in the bottom spot. And they will be playing Phoenix. All right. We have Nemesis and Pop left.
So our 18th ranked team, Nemesis.
So Nemesis will be in pool A, and that means please draw the ball just so that we can see that it is indeed number 20. Pop will go into pool C in the bottom, and there it is. So pot 4 in the books. Great. So we'll reset. Keith,
Now
any
we
initial
reset.
thoughts while Adam gets reset with the next pot?
Well, we've already diverged from the traditional seating setup. Typically we would see a different set of teams, a different set of order. But I think that everybody's waiting to see how these pools are gonna shake out, because right now we just have the skeleton. But be interesting to see what's left when we finish up.
All right, let's keep it going. We go to pot 3. We begin again in pool B.
And we get, to make sure that's the right way up, 9.
9, which is
Schwa.
Portland Schwa. So Portland Schwa will go into pool B in the 3 spot. Scandal Schwa Parcha. All right,
So
C.
for pool C, in this one, we'll get our 10th ranked team, if I can get that show.
10 is
10th ranked
Sixers. Toronto Sixers.
Sixers. This does make it interesting. So when we get to pot 2, Bent will not be able to be in pool C.
Correct, because we already have 2 Northeast teams in pool C with Brute and Sixers. Bent will be blocked from that 2 spot in C. Okie doke. We have 2 teams left in this pot. It's Traffic and Iris. So we'll see who goes into pool D.
Come on. And it'll be our 12th ranked team, Iris.
And that is Iris. Narrowly surviving NCT in the game to go. To get to Nationals, they'll go to pool D. And of course, that means that Traffic will be in pool A, along with Fury and Nemesis. So Adam, you can reset. And Keith, what do you think here?
Well, it occurs to me that Schwa and Scandal were in the same pool last year in pool A. And of course, Scandal also drew Brute Squad in when they were the number 1 overall seed. I think that was part of one of the most surprising draws of last year. And now they draw the top seed in pot 3. So tough draws so far for Scandal through the course of the rounds that we've drawn over the past 2 seasons.
All right, so we get to the drama here of pot 2. Once again, Bent cannot be in pool C. We have Flipside, Molly Brown, Riot, and Bent to get selected this round into the 2 spots. So let's take it away.
And
C.
we get to start right away with pool C.
So to be clear, if he draws Bent, we will redraw a different name out of the hat for the pool, and that's where Bent will go. So that's just want to point that out. Bent is the 8th ranked team. Of course. It is Bent. So we're gonna draw. We're gonna draw from the hat.
New pool. And I will look away to ensure that it is clear that I am not looking and cheating for them.
And it is going to be B. So Scandal, Bent, Schwa, and Parcha is your pool B.
Right. And so now
alrighty.
I'm gonna return the B tag, and we will pull for the other teams. New.
Great.
So the next team will go into A.
Yep.
That'll be Flipside.
5 is Flipside. Wow.
Years in a row.
Flipside rematch in Pool A. That was a 1-point game in the regional final in the Southwest. Okie doke. So we have Molly and Riot. And sorry, hold that up again. I missed it while I was on a different tab.
I'm sorry. We are in Pool B.
Thank you. We just did B. We just did B.
B is full, so we only have C and D left.
Did I put the wrong one back in? No.
We need C and D in the hat, and you can.
I'm sorry. When you asked me to hold it back up, let's go.
There it is.
Oh,
it is C. All right. Thank you.
5 Pool B. That's tough draw. 5 teams in Pool B. Tough draw for Scandal.
Yeah, that's
2, 8, 9, 13.
Well, let's see.
And that is 6. So Molly Brown goes into Pool C with Brute Squad. Wow, a tough matchup there. But the traditional matchup, if you will, 3 and 6. And that does mean, of course, that in Pool D, we will get Riot. Keith, we're going to, really quick, one thought as we reset for the mixed division. We're going to do analysis of all of these pools and divisions at the end of the draw. But real quick, Keith, what do you think?
That's a tough pool C. I mean, we somebody was going to get Molly Brown, but Molly Brown and Sixers is a tough pairing. And I think Phoenix is probably very happy with their draw in this setup.
Yeah, Riot, Iris, Grit. You know, you look at some of these other. Well, we'll save it. We'll save it. I have thoughts,
save it.
but we'll get to it later. Let's take a look at the pots for the mixed division. And so this is where we will begin. BFG is the number 1 overall seed in Pool A. Austin Disco Club gets the 2 seed. They'll be the top of Pool B. Dragon in Pool C and Shame in Pool D, defending national champions. And there are your pots. So once again, we will begin in pot 4 with Mixtape, Lawless, Shine, and Moondog. And let's take it away.
All right. We will draw D first.
All right. So who will Shame see?
Yep. 16.
So 16 is Shine. Second finisher in the Southeast. Pool B is next.
Pool B gets 20.
And 20 is Moondog, the lowest ranked team in the mixed division this year.
Yep. The next one is Pool A. Gets 15, which is Lawless.
Indeed.
All right.
And that means, of course,
Pool C gets our 14, which is Mixtape.
So Dragon, Mixtape, Pool C. Wow, that's got a little legacy, doesn't it, Keith? That matchup.
It does, but I mean, I guess unless Mixtape had been in Pool B, you probably would have said that about all these pools. That's a good one. That's juicy.
Mixtape has been around. I will also say that by Mixtape and Moondog not being drawn into Pool A, there is no concern about moving a team in mix now. So the only remaining draws are all allowed. They're all legal at this point.
Great. All right. So we will move on now to pot 3. And pot 3 contains Rally, Tower, Slow, and Space Force.
Yep.
So let's rock and roll. Yes, we are.
Yep.
We begin in Pool C.
Okay. Pool C.
So who is going to end up with this Dragon Mixtape matchup?
This is a fun draw, right? And we have
9 is Space Force. Southeast champs. North Central champs. Mixtape finishing 3rd in the Northwest. Okie doke. To D we go.
D, where we get our 10 seed, which is
and that is Slow. Austin Slow will face off against Shame and Shine.
And I, of course,
can we get 4 S's?
Hi, Marshall.
Can we get 4 S's? Is it possible? Sprocket could end up in that pool, and we could have the S pool. I would love that. All right.
Well,
let's
give me a second. No. Moving on to Pool B.
Sacramento Tower, Washington, D.C. Rally. It is 12, which is Rally.
Which leaves us Pool A getting 11,
Tower.
Which will be Tower. Yep.
So a Southwest rematch. Tower and Lawless played in the regional final in the Southwest. Lawless with a commanding win, and already looking like a tough pool there in Pool A. Keith, thoughts as we reset?
Well, Dragon drew the highest seeded team in both of the pots thus far? Can they make it 3 for 3 and create a true pool of death in Pool C? That's what I'm watching.
That will be interesting.
Derek Morad says that BFG and Lawless are going to be in pool play. Is this for the fourth year in a row? Interesting.
Three out of the last 4 years.
3 out of the last 4 years. Got it. That's what that means. All right, let's keep it rolling. We get to the second pot, which is Exist, Red Flag, Hybrid, and Sprocket. So we begin with Pool C. Who will join Dragon, Space Force, and Mixtape?
And
they did it.
Will be Exist.
You called it.
The highest seeded team in every pot for Dragon Throne.
Wow.
I mean, that's...
We've got excitement already.
That's a spicy pool right off the top. I mean, it might be auto pool of death, but we'll talk about that later. All right, next up.
It's going to be D. And D gets 8. Which is Sprocket.
Okay, and 8 is Sprocket. So do we get the pool? We get the S. We get the S pool. It had to be. It had to be.
Forget Pool D. We have Pool A.
This is how you know it's rigged.
Pool S this year.
I will swear I have accounting firms all around me making sure that it wasn't a setup, so we're good.
The chat loves
awesome.
it. We're such nerds. I remain excited about this.
That's S tier, baby. All right, let's go. We're gonna pick for Pool B now.
Yep.
We have Red Flag and Hybrid left.
And we get 7.
7 is Hybrid. And that means that Red Flag will face off with BFG, Tower, and Lawless. Oof, Pool A looks tough too, Keith. Man.
2 regional rematches in Pool A.
Yes.
That is
it's the West Coast pool. Yeah.
That's true. Arizona.
Yep. Sorry.
So no, I mean, it's just like we got the highest seed from highest possible draw from each pot in Pool C. We have the S teams in Pool D, which, by the way, I guess there's Space Forces in 9. There were only 5 S teams, so it's kind of crazy that they all landed. 4 of them landed there. We have the West Coast Pool A. What does Pool B have a distinguishing feature? We'll have to think about that.
It's going to need like an acronym.
Teams? No, I don't know.
We'll think about it. A lot of similar colors in the logos there. But Moondog's Sun Hoodie is in that kind of tealy color too. So maybe there's something to go with colors there. All right. Let's move on. We'll talk more about these pools a little bit later. Time to look at our pots for the men's side of things. Machine gets the number 1 overall seed. Boston Dig in the 2 spot, and they'll top Pool B. Denver Johnny Bravo in Pool C, and San Francisco Revolver in Pool D. We will begin with Pot 4, Furious, RDU, Mallard, and Shrimp. Let's rock and roll. Let's get to our draw. Here we go. All right, Pool D. Someone's get matched up with Revolver here.
20, which will be Shrimp.
Shrimp versus Revolver. West Coast matchup.
I'd like to apologize to Pavel in the chat right now, who's been asking for Shrimp since before this broadcast.
Well, I think someone on Shrimp specifically wanted to play Machine, so we'll see.
Right. He was a giver. It wasn't for himself. He was looking for others.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
So Pool C gets 14, which is Furious.
And 14 is Furious George. Okey-doke.
Pool
A. Pool A.
Gets our 15th ranked team, which is RDU.
15 is RDU.
Which should leave us with Pool B.
Gets Mallard. All right.
And we are moving right through it.
Very good.
as we
Couple
reset
regional
the ball
champs
again.
there in Pool B. Keith, any quick thoughts?
A Shrimp and Trip gets Revolver. I mean, it's just like opposite ends of the prestige spectrum, which is amusing. I would have loved for the Shrimp to be with Machine, given the shrimp emojis flying in the chat right now, but alas.
All right. We go to the third pot, which is going to be chain, pony, goat, and double wide. So let's rock and roll.
We'll go to Pool B
We
first.
start in Pool B.
And we have our 11 seed.
11
ranked
is goat.
goat.
So 2 Northeast teams in Pool B together.
Go to Pool C.
All right.
Who get our 9th ranked team.
And that is Chain. You know, Keith, I got one for you here. Bravo Chain.
Huh.
We filmed that game at our very first club nationals as Ulti World. I remember being at that game. I think maybe it was the second club nationals. I remember we streamed the game, and it was a fantastic matchup. But so a classic battle, Denver versus Atlanta. Let's keep it going.
All right. We'll draw our pool first. So we'll go to A. And we're going with our 10th ranked team.
And that is Pony. So Machine,
Joins
Pony,
Machine.
pool play. Very interesting.
That is interesting, which hopefully leaves us for Pool D.
It will be double wide.
12, which is double wide.
Revolver double wide. That also 2012, right? That was the year double wide took it down in Sarasota? Been a long time since then.
And to make sure we call it out, I will illustrate that the only potential risk for men's was if RDU and Chain had been drawn into the same pool. So there is no risk now that we have to move teams since RDU and Chain are not in the same pool.
Great.
We cannot have
a
problem.
So we go to pot 2, which is Ring, Truck, Rhino, and Sockeye. So obviously, Keith, the chaos is Truck in Pool A, right?
Yes. That's what will get the people freaking out. Sure.
All right. So let's do it. Here we go.
All right.
Pool A.
We'll start in Pool B.
Pool B.
Where we get
5 which is Ring. Okay, so a pool that was looking pretty comfortable for Dig gets a lot more interesting with Ring in it. All right. Next up,
we'll go to D.
Pool D. We have Truck, Rhino, and Sockeye.
And D gets Truck.
So Revolver, Truck, double wide, and Shrimp in Pool D.
We'll draw C.
Okay.
Where we go with our 7th ranked team, Rhino.
That's Rhino. And of course, that means that we will have Sockeye in Pool A along with Machine, Pony, and RDU. So, boy, Pool A looking a little traditional, Keith. I mean, not exactly, but the 1 and
not
the
quite,
8.
but at the top, yeah.
More balanced pools perhaps than last year. So,
to me, this feels like the most balanced set of pools that we've seen through both iterations of this.
Through 2 years now. That may be true. We're going to talk about it in a moment. Adam, would just want to say thank you so much. Great job. You only dropped the ball one time, so that's going to become an annual tradition.
It really should be. It's a plan now. Thank
All right.
you
Well,
both for having me join you. It is fun to do this. And congratulations and good luck to all the teams.
all right. Thanks so much. We're gonna stick around here and talk about these pools a little bit. We're gonna go back to the women's division. Thanks again, Adam Goff, National Men's Director for USA Ultimate. And Keith, let's take a look at these pools for the women's division. Fury, Flipside, Traffic, and Nemesis in Pool A. Scandal, Bent, Schwa, and Parcha in Pool B. Root Squad, Molly Brown, Sixers, and Pop in Pool C. And Phoenix, Riot, Iris, and Grit in Pool D. Initial reactions.
I think most people's first reaction is going to be seeing Brute Squad, Molly Brown, and getting excited about it. You should be, but frankly, is there a matchup that is there a pool Molly Brown would have been drawn into where that their 1-2 game wouldn't have been the most exciting thing going on? Like I don't think so. Maybe you say in the Phoenix pool it feels more like the 4-5, so it's traditional. So to me, that isn't the thing that I'm drawn to. It's that it feels like Phoenix got a fantastic draw here.
Oh my gosh!
They get what I think is the least intimidating team from the second pot. They don't draw any of the teams that we marked as the scariest in the other pots either. So I think Phoenix has got to feel really good about where they're sitting going into this national setup.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't ask for better. I don't believe they played Riot this season. I just checked; they did not. So Riot's been a little punchier than maybe we expected coming into the year. That said, I think it's clear that they're not nearly as dangerous as Flipside, Bent, and Molly. I mean, I remember Phoenix losing to Flipside in maybe a pre-quarter, like just a year or two ago, in a great game. And so Phoenix has got to feel like really comfortable that they can go out and claim a quarter spot. Molly beat Brute earlier this year, 15-12 in the last game that they played at the U.S. Open. So that's something to keep an eye on. How do you feel like Bent likes this matchup with Scandal at the top of Pool B?
I mean, Scandal's obviously really strong. There's going to be, I think, a decent amount of familiarity between those two teams. But I think it's tough for me. Like, I think all the 2 seeds are probably hoping to draw Phoenix. I think Phoenix has the weakest resume of the top 4 seeds. But after that, to me, it feels kind of like a toss up. I imagine Bet doesn't really want to see Root Squad, but they're probably fine with seeing Scandal. They know they're gonna have a tough test. I think they're probably more. It's like, oh, do we really want Schwa and Parcha in our pool?
Yeah, Schwa. That's
the challenger pool B. Is that they got tough bottom seeds.
Yes, I mean those games are going to be tough. Bent played Scandal 3 times this season. They split 1-goal games at Pro Champs, but remember, Pro Champs was during Worlds, so Scandal was missing Claire Trope and some of their other best players. But Bet was missing players too, to be clear. So hard to know about that. They played earlier. It was a 15-9 win to Scandal in the first game at the U.S. Open. So we'll see. That's going to be an interesting one. Schwa is tough too. Bent and Schwa have not played this season, so something to keep an eye on. Fury Flipside, we talked about it on the podcast on Tuesday, Keith, that Fury maybe wants Flipside because they've kind of dominated that matchup historically. But it was a really close game at regionals. Do you think Flipside's got a chance to have that kind of like, let's call it an NFL divisional game advantage of really knowing Fury inside and out?
I mean, of course they have a chance. They're a really good team. They obviously just played really close with Fury. They're going to be dogs going into the game, but yeah, they're live dogs at that. But I think that Fury is probably got to feel pretty confident. We understand the matchup. We have time to prepare. We have tremendous coaching and a really great veteran leadership. So we have a chance to be really prepared for that matchup, and less time that they have to dedicate preparing for their pool play matchup because they already have a pretty good playbook probably put together. So they can focus on their other pool play matchups and potentially who they'll see further down the bracket. I think if you're Fury, you're really happy to see Flipside in your pool. You're muted.
Oh, I did mute myself. I'm sorry. You got a pool of death?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be pool C, right? I mean, I said that I think we had a disagreement about which the teams from pot 3 were the scariest, but I was on the side of Sixers. I think we both agree Molly Brown is the scariest team. So in pool B, in pot B or pot 2. So that's a tough draw for Brute Squad, and
I think I
I
disagree.
think they're going to feel good about being against Sixers because Sixers are so familiar regionally. But again, I still feel like they have the highest ceiling of Traffic Schwa and Iris and Sixers. So it's a little bit of probably not as scary for Brute Squad, but a tough pool, I think.
I think Pool B is the toughest top to bottom. I think the strength of Parcha versus Pop is really the tipping point, and like Schwa and Sixers feel like pretty comparable teams to me. And I agree with you. Bent is worse than Molly Brown, but overall, I feel like that's the toughest pool, and maybe the one where I can see an upset more than I can see in Pool C. I feel like we could see an upset at the top of Pool C, but I really don't think Brute and Molly are going to lose to Sixers or Pop. So anyway, we'll have lots more on this as we get closer, and we'll talk about this more on next week's podcast as well on Tuesday at noon live. Give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Let's take a look at the mixed pools and talk about these. Okay, this is a crazy set of pools. This is really a crazy set of pools. Pool C is literally how you would script the pool of death.
Well. Let's be fair. We all said Hybrid is the team you want to fade in if you're a 1 seed. Yes, Exist is a higher ranked team. This is not an indication that Exist is not good. They are good, but I think we all feel like Hybrid is the scariest team. So fading on paper, yes, this is the worst case scenario for Dragon. I think it would have been worse to have Hybrid in this pool. Again, I didn't even say that Space Force, I think, was the scariest team in pot 3, even though I think the case is there. But I think fading Hybrid keeps this from being like an absolute disaster. But it is interesting to see all the top seeds in each pot all go into one pool, and I think that's going to create a thing that people are going to complain about. They're going to say, "Oh, the pool drawing system can be unfair because you can end up with results like this."
I will say, I feel like Pool A, which in the historical seeding path was usually the least interesting pool, is very interesting. Red Flag's really good. I think they were ranked like second coming into regionals. Obviously BFG is fantastic, but both of those teams are like semis contenders. And I know Tower lost to Lawless, but I think that says more about Lawless's ceiling than it does about Tower, who's a pretty darn good team. And like, do you really want to play Robin Fennig at Nationals? If you're in the mixed division, you just cannot want that. You just cannot want that. I find that to be pretty interesting because I think the bottom pair of Tower Lawless might be the best bottom pair of any of these sets. Like, I get Space Force won their region, and I get Mixtape's history. There's certainly a case for Mixtape, but they've been very uneven this season. So is Lawless.
Yeah, I mean, being uneven is not unfamiliar territory for Lawless. Really athletic, with Red Flag and Lawless in the pool. I mean, those are two teams that have a lot of athletes, and like that could be good for Red Flag. I mean, maybe it's like you're playing a mirror matchup, and you got the stronger team. They've had a great year, so I don't, that what seems to be now being called schmixed, as I've seen in the chat, you expect some chaos here. So none of these pools look cozy to me. Tough draw for Disco Club. We were talking about the validation that they've achieved through regionals, but to get Hybrid when you're the least proven team in the top pool is tough. I mean, you're gonna have to go up against what we think is a championship quality team in pool play. That's a difficult draw.
I want to note I was corrected in the chat. Red Flag was actually number 1 in the rankings coming into regionals. Now they lost soundly to BFG at regionals, but that is the only team they have lost to this year. So in some ways, Red Flag might be kind of upset right now. They probably felt like they would have liked almost any other matchup, but instead they get the team that's kind of owned them this year and clearly is, I think, number 1 in the country right now.
Probably a bit a frustrating location for Red Flag to land.
All right, let's move on now to the men's division. and take a look at these really balanced looking pools. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive here. Does one of these even stand out to you as a pool of death right now, Keith?
To me, Pool C seems like the toughest pool, top to bottom.
I agree.
I think that Chain's obviously a pretty healthy 9 seed, and Furious. I think they're the top of the bottom pot. So I think that's a tough draw. I mean, they came pretty close. Bravo to basically repeating what Dragon Thrust had done and drawing the top ranked team in every pot. They got the top ranked team in each of the bottom 2 pots, and then they got Rhino instead of getting Ring, which like is that really better? Like, who are you more afraid of right now? Who do you think has a higher ceiling, Ring or Rhino? Like, I think you got to toss it there. Obviously, Truck
Both teams
Stop's the team
good.
you're trying to fade, but yeah. So it's that seems like the toughest pool, but these are very very balanced. I think on the whole.
Pavel says Pavel Giannis of Machine says Pony not making bracket crushing. What do you think, Keith? Pony has not really lived up to the expectations now for multiple seasons.
Well, what's going to be Charlie? What would be your line right now on Pony versus Sockeye? What's your
Pony
line
versus Sockeye?
Yeah.
Probably maybe Pony -1.5. Like not.
Yeah, I think
pretty close to a pick 'em.
I think that's the interesting setup. You draw the bottom seeded of the teams from pot 2, and then you draw what I think most people are probably the most afraid of team in pot 3. Makes a recipe for potential upsets, I think.
Yeah. Gonna be interesting. Revolver Truck double wide. I mean, there's just some great like I'm thinking back to that Revolver Truck quarterfinal a few years back, a classic. I went to Universe. I mean, again, these games, it's not the same personnel. They're totally different looking teams, but just like love the history of some of these matchups. Ashland Joy hit Bo Kittredge on an away shot to win the game on Universe and go to semis. And that was kind of like when Trucks first started knocking on the door. Of course, now they come in defending champions this year, but also maybe with some question marks. So they're going to have to pass that first test of Revolver. I think that should be a pretty interesting game.
I got a message from a player who's on one of the top 4 seeds in one of these 3 divisions. It was like thinking about their quarters matchup. So we'll have to talk more about that on the main show next week. If you're looking at Pool C in this, whoever wins Pool D, assuming that the Pool C teams win their pre-quarters, Revolver or Truck Stop is going to draw, or probably Revolver or Truck Stop is going to draw some combination of Rhino or Chain, or Bravo. Like that.
Yep.
That's a tough draw for quarters.
I mean, you think about like top of Pool B, winning that game and getting the quarters by is just so big. Not having to play a crossover down into like one of Bravo Rhino Chain, you just really don't want to have to do that. So obviously, if it went to seed, Ring would play Chain, and so then you're kind of looking at a rematch. And I don't know that either team really wants that matchup, but maybe Chain feeling pretty good after regionals.
Yeah, I mean, there's no good matchup to be had between those teams. I mean, those are all scary teams, I think, in the bracket.
All right. So, any other thoughts here? We're going to go deeper on all this stuff next week.
I'm looking forward to doing our draft, which we said we would do as our sub bonus. We're going to enact the draft system. We just had a proposal come in, and it's up on the site now of how to actually execute drafting the pools. So I don't know what we're going to do for representatives to act as the fellow GMs. Hey, if somebody from a team, if Pavel wants to come out there and draft for Machine, hit me up. But it should be interesting when we get to sub bonus next week. Also, I want to know, Charlie. Now that I'm going to say it out loud, Charlie's just not going to be able to stop me. I'm going to let subscribers in the Discord lock in some matchups that are going to get streamed. So if you want to lock in 2 teams playing each other, I'm just gonna freewheel it. Give me 2 teams that are in the same pool. You want to guarantee they're getting streamed. That'll be in the Discord. So if you're a subscriber and you aren't in the Discord, you should get in there. And if you're not a subscriber, same deal.
All righty. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. We will talk more about these pools next week. And we're just under a month until the national championships. So lots of time for some film sessions and getting ready for these matchups. So looking forward to checking out the schedule and getting our streaming schedule out there very soon. Did you know Ultiworld streaming literally all of Club Nationals this year? There's no ESPN. We've got all the quarters, all the semis, all the finals with your Ultiworld subscription. So sign up today, get access to the national championships, and check out all of the film from this season. Go to ultiworld.com/subscribe. For Keith, I'm Charlie. We'll talk to you Tuesday on our regularly scheduled Deep Look. See you then. S-Pool, baby.